If you are tired of waking up and not recognizing the man in the mirror, if you have grown weary of your own excuses, your own weakness, your own wasted potential, then this is not a speech. This is your intervention. You are not broken. You are undisciplined. And discipline can be installed, but only if you listen with decision, not curiosity. The power to become unshakable is already within you. This speech will awaken it. So sit still, stop drifting, and hear what your future has been trying to tell you. If you do not take possession of your own mind, someone else will. That is the first law I must deliver to you. That is the battlefield. That is the ground upon which your entire life is won or lost. Not in the bank, not in the office, not in the gym, not in the world, but in the space between your ears. If your thoughts do not belong to you, then neither will your future. If you allow the world to dictate what you believe, how you see yourself, and what you expect, then you have already lost before a single shot was fired. The undirected mind is the slave of the environment, and a slave cannot build an empire. Most men never win this war. They live entire lives imprisoned by opinions they never questioned, fears they never challenged, and limitations they never chose. They think in circles, feel in storms, react by habit, and wonder why nothing changes. They wait for a shift in circumstance, never realizing that it is they who must change, internally, radically, and permanently. A man who wins in the world must first overthrow the tyranny of his own thoughts. That is the true revolution. Let me now introduce you to a principle that separates the builders of fortune from the beggars of fate: accurate thinking. The most dangerous lie is not the one the world tells you. It is the one you repeat to yourself. You must now examine what thoughts you have allowed into your inner world. Who planted them? Why have you kept them? Are they building you, or are they breaking you in silence? Accurate thinking demands that you become a gatekeeper, not a sponge. The weak man absorbs every doubt, every insult, every defeat as if it were true. The disciplined man filters. He asks, is this fact? Does this serve my purpose? Will this thought build the man I aim to become? If not, he rejects it as poison. He does not debate it. He does not replay it. He discards it like rusted iron. You must now do the same. You must choose consciously, daily, ruthlessly, what to believe, what to ignore, and what to declare. Do not inherit the limitations of your family. Do not repeat the fears of the crowd. Do not absorb the assumptions of the world. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise. And rising begins with mental sovereignty. Consider the mind of Henry Ford, a man who was laughed at, mocked, and told by experts that the kind of engine he dreamed of was impossible. Every newspaper scoffed. Every critic shouted. Every engineer tried to correct him, but his belief did not bend. His thoughts were his, not theirs. He had built a mental fortress, one made not of stone, but of decision. And so while others waited for permission, Ford built the impossible. That is the power of a man who has taken command of his thoughts. This must now be your model. If your belief bends in the wind, your life will collapse in the storm. You must now build conviction so clear, so grounded, so fiercely chosen that no voice, no trend, no failure can unseat you from your direction. The world will try. It will test you. It will whisper its doubts and scream its distractions. But the world cannot shake the man who no longer negotiates with weakness. Hear me now. Do not wait for confidence. Do not wait for mood. Do not wait for applause. Confidence is not granted to the passive. It is earned by mental discipline. You do not feel strong before you act. You act and strength follows. You do not wait until the fear disappears. You decide that fear will not have the final word. And then you speak, then you move, then you rise. The average man listens to every voice but his own. He allows his attention to be seized, his beliefs to be dictated, his mind to be ruled. But you are not here to be average. You are here to take back the one thing every man was born with, the right to command his inner world. And when you do, the outer world bends in time. Write this down. Speak it aloud. Let your bones remember it. I am the master of my mind. I accept only thoughts that serve my purpose. Nothing can shake me. Say it again. I am the master of my mind. I accept only thoughts that serve my purpose. Nothing can shake me. Let these not be words for comfort. Let them be orders. Let them become law. And now begin the work. Identify every thought that contradicts your purpose. Replace it with a declaration of power. Speak your aim every morning before the world speaks defeat into you. Refuse to entertain thoughts of fear, limitation, or comparison. Choose thoughts that build, direct, and discipline. This is not mere motivation. This is mental construction. You are building a new identity with every thought you choose to keep and every thought you choose to reject. You are replacing drift with dominion, emotion with instruction, reaction with rule. And so I leave you with this. If your mind belongs to you, your future will too. But if your thoughts remain unguarded, then do not be surprised when your life belongs to everyone but you. Say it once more, this time not as a repetition, but as a pledge. I am the master of my mind. I accept only thoughts that serve my purpose. Nothing can shake me. If you wish to live as a master and not a puppet, then you must begin here. Your emotions are servants, not your masters. This truth must be branded upon your soul if you are to stand unshaken in a world that bows to every passing feeling. The average man wakes up and waits to see how he feels before deciding what to do. He takes orders from mood. He kneels before emotion. He lets the weather of his spirit dictate the shape of his life. And because his feelings shift, so does his purpose. That man is not free. He is not grounded. He is not a builder. He is a feather, blown about by the wind of circumstance. But the man who commands his emotion does not wait to feel ready. He does not delay until the fog lifts. He moves forward even while the storm rages within. That is the mark of a man who is becoming unshakable. He understands a simple law. Emotion is fuel, not compass. You may use it, but you must never follow it. You may ride it, but you must never obey it without permission. Let me say it as plainly as I can. Your emotions must obey your mission. When you feel fear, act in faith. When you feel anger, return to purpose. When you feel doubt, declare your aim. When you feel despair, speak power until despair flees. You are not weak for feeling, but you are weak if you let feelings rule. Most men make the fatal mistake of believing that faith is a feeling, that they must first feel confident, feel inspired, feel secure before they act. This is false. This is a lie told by the emotional man to excuse his delay. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision. It is a discipline. It is backed by repetition. It is proven by action. And that is why it holds power, because it acts even when nothing seems certain. Consider Thomas Edison, a man who failed over 10,000 times in his pursuit of the electric light. Most men would have surrendered long before. Most men would have waited for motivation to return. But Edison did not ask his emotions for permission. He did not consult his discouragement before rising again. He had decided that light would be born, and so it was. His emotions did not govern him. His aim governed him. That is what I now call you to stop waiting for better moods and to start obeying your definite purpose. If your emotions serve your purpose, use them. If they rebel, silence them. You have that power. You were born with it. But it must be trained. It must be exercised like a muscle. You must no longer be impressed by men who feel much. Be impressed by men who act in spite of what they feel. That is strength. Listen to me now. If your actions are ruled by how you feel, then every enemy, every opinion, every circumstance will be able to direct you like a child. You will work only when it feels exciting. You will speak only when it feels easy. You will move only when the road is smooth. And when resistance comes, and it will, you will collapse and call it fate. But not you, not anymore, because now you understand the law. You may feel anything, but you must act according to your aim. No more decisions based on discomfort. No more hiding behind uncertainty. No more surrender to passing clouds. You were not born to obey emotion. You were born to master it. Your daily instruction is this: when fear rises, act in faith. When doubt whispers, declare your aim. When anger stirs, return to your plan. Make it a command. Make it ritual. Write it on your desk. Speak it before your work begins. Let no day pass without enforcing this law. And do not mistake stillness for weakness. Emotional mastery is not about repression. It is about redirection. You are not called to numbness. You are called to alignment. To feel fully, but choose power. To sense pain, but respond in purpose. To notice fear, but walk in faith anyway. There will be moments when you are tested, when the pressure rises, when the temptation to react overtakes the desire to build. It is in those moments that your future is decided, and your training begins now. Say this with me. My emotions obey my mission. I do not collapse. I direct myself. Again, my emotions obey my mission. I do not collapse. I direct myself. You must not merely say this. You must live it. When your chest tightens, when your throat closes, when your doubts shout, speak this louder. This is your creed. This is your weapon. This is your law. Do not expect the world to change so that you may feel better. Expect yourself to grow stronger so that the world cannot shake you. That is what emotional discipline creates. A man who cannot be broken by feelings becomes a man who cannot be broken by life. Say it once more now with full authority. My emotions obey my mission. I do not collapse. I direct myself. You are not bound by your past unless you declare yourself its prisoner. Identity is not inherited. It is chosen. I tell you plainly, no man was born weak or shy or broken or hopeless. He became that way by the repetition of thought, and he will remain that way until he begins the repetition of truth. What you are is not the product of fate. It is the byproduct of your belief, your decisions, your habits, and your obedience to thought. Therefore, I say to you now, you are not who you were. You are who you decide to become and who you train yourself to be. Let us burn the lie that personality is fixed, that your nature is set, that your character is cemented by background, bloodline, or birth. That is the language of cowards and the excuse of drifters. Your identity is not a cage. It is a blueprint. And a blueprint can be rewritten, but only by the man who accepts full responsibility for every thought he allows, every word he speaks, and every act he repeats. You become what you think about, backed by decision, emotion, and repeated action. This is not theory. This is law. It is how empires are built and how empires fall. A poor man who trains his thoughts in definiteness, courage, and purpose becomes rich. A rich man who tolerates idle thought, distraction, and fear becomes poor. You are what you allow. You are what you repeat. You are what you decide. And if you desire to rise, you must rise in your identity first. You must speak, walk, and think in alignment with the man you are building, not the man you have been. Your old self will whisper. Your old labels will echo. But you do not answer to that name anymore. You do not respond to weakness, to shame, to mediocrity. You respond to the name you choose, boldly, daily, and without apology. And how do you forge this new identity? I will tell you now. You use the law that has reshaped every great life you admire, autosuggestion. That is, the daily use of spoken truth to impress upon the subconscious mind the man you have chosen to be. Your mind is clay, and words are the hands that shape it. You will not become disciplined by accident. You will not become powerful by hope. You must declare it aloud, with emotion, with repetition, with full belief, until your subconscious accepts it as law. Say it aloud. Speak who you are becoming. Speak it every morning before the world touches you. Speak it every night before sleep takes you. And speak it whenever fear, doubt, or memory try to return you to a version of yourself that no longer belongs to you. Let me tell you something that most will never understand. This speech is not to be heard once. It is to be absorbed daily. It is to be burned into the bones. Because transformation is not achieved by inspiration, it is achieved by repetition. You must listen to this again and again, not with entertainment, but with intensity. Each time you hear it, a deeper part of your mind begins to accept it. Until one day, you are not trying to be different. You are. Andrew Carnegie did not just build steel. He built the mind of a king. He forged in himself an unshakable belief that he was born not to serve others, but to lead men. And he fed that belief daily, not by chance, but by the force of autosuggestion. His morning began not with opinion or emotion, but with command. He did not wait to be called great. He called himself great, and then built the life to prove it. That is what I now instruct you to do. Write the identity you are building. Speak it aloud. Burn it into your subconscious. Refuse to answer to any lesser name. Stop saying I'm trying. Start saying I am. Stop saying I hope. Start saying I decide. Your future responds to clarity. Your life obeys decisiveness. And remember this, the world will treat you as you treat yourself. It will pay you what you believe you're worth. It will follow you only if you first follow your purpose. It will mirror back the image you hold inward. That is why you must now guard your identity like a crown. Do not allow anyone to name you. Do not allow your past to title you. And never again answer to weakness, doubt, or shame. Say it with me now. I am building myself. I am not who I was. I am who I decided to become. Again, I am building myself. I am not who I was. I am who I decided to become. This is not self-flattery. This is self-command. This is identity forged by fire. And when the old thoughts rise, when temptation whispers, when discouragement knocks, you will not bow. You will speak again. You will return to your creed. You will obey the law. Say it once more, not softly, not as a wish, but as a weapon. I am building myself. I am not who I was. I am who I decided to become. A man without purpose is a leaf in the wind. He is thrown about by circumstance, drifted by emotion, driven by the opinions of louder men, and left with no legacy to his name. But the man who walks with definite purpose cannot be moved. He may stumble, but he does not fall. He may bend, but he does not break. He may be delayed, but he is never lost, because he knows where he is going. He has chosen his direction, and the world cannot conquer the man who has chosen his direction. This principle, definiteness of purpose, is not a suggestion. It is the cornerstone. It is the first fortress of the unshakable man. No man becomes powerful until he has written his purpose in stone. Not whispered it, not guessed it, written it, declared it, burned it into memory, and made every hour bow to it. If you are still unsure of where your life is going, if you still wake without clarity, without a definite goal, without a singular mission, then no wonder your moods break you. No wonder your doubts rule you. No wonder your effort is divided and your reward is small. Life does not reward the vague. It obeys the definite. Let me tell you the story of Edwin C. Barnes, a man who had no money, no contacts, no education, but he had a definite aim. He declared, not that he hoped to work for Thomas Edison, but that he would become Edison's business partner. That aim lived in his spirit. He spoke it, believed it, moved with it, and sacrificed for it. He took a train to Edison's office, presented himself with no credentials, and announced that he had come to join him in business. He began with small tasks, menial jobs, but the aim never left his mind. It burned behind every word he spoke. And years later, when the opportunity came, Edison saw in Barnes not a clerk, but a man who had already decided. and he became exactly what he set out to be. That is the power of a definite aim. It magnetizes the mind. It organizes thought. It commands action. It summons opportunity. It makes the impossible bow to will. Now I tell you, you must do the same. Choose your aim. Write it. Speak it. Burn it into your bones. Make every action serve it. And never again live one day without it. You cannot build a palace on shifting ground. You cannot build a legacy with wandering hands. You must decide. And you must refuse to look left or right once that decision is made. Your instruction is this: take one aim, not 10, not vague hopes, not shallow wishes, one definite chief aim. It may be wealth, invention, service, mastery, freedom, leadership, but it must be clear. You must know it so well you can say it in your sleep. You must speak it every morning before you face the world and every night before you close your eyes. Because the man who does not program his own mind is a slave to the world's program. Without purpose, you are prey. You are prey to emotion, suggestion, fear, criticism, failure, pleasure, and drift. You will wake with no reason. You will act with no focus. You will work with no flame, and you will die with no legacy. But with purpose, you become a force. And here is the great secret. Purpose gives you power over fear, because when you know where you are going, fear becomes small. It becomes background noise. It becomes the bark of a distant dog while you walk forward, eyes fixed on the goal. Every successful man has used purpose as his compass, and so must you. Say it with me now. I have a definite aim. My life serves a singular purpose. I will not be shaken. Again, I have a definite aim. My life serves a singular purpose. I will not be shaken. These are not words for decoration. These are words of construction. They are bricks for your internal foundation. Every time you say them, you build. Every time you obey them, you rise. And let me warn you, the world will try to distract you. It will try to offer easier paths, more comfortable dreams, more immediate pleasures. But none of them are your aim. And anything that does not serve your aim must be rejected. Not softly, but violently, completely, and without hesitation. You are no longer a wanderer. You are no longer unsure. You are no longer seeking direction. You have chosen, and now everything in you must bow to what you have chosen. So write your aim, frame it, speak it, build your days around it, cut off everything that weakens it, surround yourself only with those who honor it, and pursue it until the day you take your last breath. Say it once more. I have a definite aim. My life serves a singular purpose. I will not be shaken. You must hear this with absolute clarity. No man who cannot control himself will ever be trusted with control of anything greater. You may possess genius. You may possess charm. You may possess drive. But if your appetites rule you, then your power will rot from the inside. You will rise for a moment, but you will fall in time. Because no crown rests long on the head of the undisciplined. Self-control is not weakness. It is not denial. It is not the absence of desire. It is the mastery of desire. And let me tell you this now, that mastery is not optional. It is the price of greatness. Every man you admire, every builder of empires, every leader of revolutions, every creator of wealth, first conquered himself. If you do not govern your appetite will govern your actions. And when it does, your mission will die. Self-control is not repression. It is redirection. You do not kill the fire within you. You raise it. You do not suffocate your passions. You aim them. You transmute the energy of appetite into the energy of production. This is the law of mastery. You take that urge to indulge, to escape, to feel pleasure, and you feed it into your work, your service, your strategy, your ambition. This is not fantasy. This is science of mind. This is the highway to power. The strongest energy within you is sexual energy. It is the seat of drive, the source of fire, the core of vitality. And if left undirected, it becomes destruction. But if you transmute it, if you lift it upward, it becomes genius. It becomes industry. It becomes the power to speak, to build, to invent, to endure. That fire is your inheritance, but only if you take command of it. Leonardo da Vinci lived in furious silence, mastering himself, pouring his energy into works that still breathe today. Henry Ford was obsessed not with indulgence, but with industry. He did not scatter his attention. He preserved his focus like a sacred fire. Andrew Carnegie, too, disciplined, deliberate, detached from distraction. These men were not idle. They were not impulsive. They were not driven by appetite. They drove their appetites like horses pulling a royal carriage. And now it is your turn. You must become a man of discipline. You must create rituals that harness your fire, daily, unwavering, sacred. Rise early. Write your aim. Breathe in silence. Work with intention. Read with purpose. Walk alone. Cut away everything that pulls your attention into vanity or weakness. And when temptation arises, and it will, you must not fight it with shame or fear. You must fight it with identity and action. Speak your aim aloud. Remind yourself who you are. Move your body, write your goals, touch your vision, and act. Because the longer you delay, the stronger the impulse becomes. You do not wait for desire to pass. You convert it. Let me say it again. You do not wait for desire to pass. You convert it into purpose, into movement, into momentum. That is what makes you a man. Not the absence of desire, but the redirection of it. The discipline to say, I will not waste this fire. I will not spend my power on the temporary. I will invest it into the eternal. Repeat this with me now. Say it with authority, with spine, with ownership. I am a man of discipline. My appetite obeys my will. I govern myself with honor. Again, I am a man of discipline. My appetite obeys my will. I govern myself with honor. You must not speak this as poetry. You must speak it as law. You are no longer a beggar of pleasure. You are a builder of destiny. You no longer live at the mercy of moods and urges. You command yourself. Let the others waste their energy on indulgence. Let the others chase stimulation. Let the others fall to weakness. But you will not be like them. You will walk a higher path. You will channel your energy into greatness. You will turn fire into focus. And you will carry yourself like a man who knows that every indulgence costs you your future. Your leadership begins with self-governance. Your rise begins with restraint. Your destiny begins when your will becomes stronger than your appetite. Say it one more time. Speak it as your creed. I am a man of discipline. My appetite obeys my will. I govern myself with honor. If you wish to know the difference between the man who merely dreams and the man who builds what others dream of, you will find it in this one word: persistence. It is not glamorous. It is not poetic. But it is the final word in the life of every great man. For while talent may open doors and desire may spark action, only persistence finishes the work. And the man who does not persist, without exception, will always be shaken by resistance. I must tell you what most men never hear. Life does not yield easily. Your plans will be tested. Your convictions will be laughed at. Your early efforts will likely fail, not because you are wrong, but because life demands proof. It will not give its rewards to the man who acts only when the sky is clear. It waits to see if you will act when the clouds gather, when the winds howl, when nothing answers you but silence. And most men quit at this point. They pack up their ambition. They retreat into comfort. They explain their excuses, and they call it wisdom. But it is cowardice. Persistence is not the same as hope. It is not the same as desire. Persistence is repeated decision. It is doing what you said you would do, regardless of mood, regardless of weather, regardless of applause. It is discipline in motion. It is defiance in action. It is saying, you may slow me, but you will not stop me. You may strike me, but you will not shake me. Consider the story of R.U. Darby, a man who invested everything to dig for gold in the Colorado mines. After finding a promising vein, he brought in machinery and labor. But after some digging, the gold disappeared. He tried, he failed, and eventually he quit, sold the machinery for scrap. The man who bought the equipment consulted an expert, continued digging, and struck gold 3 feet from where Darby had stopped. Darby had been close, but not persistent. And so he lost everything, not because the gold was missing, but because his decision broke before the finish line. That story must haunt you, and it must teach you. You will be tested. You will want to quit. And the voice of failure will sound reasonable. It will tell you, just rest, just wait, just stop. But you must answer it with a law of your own. I do not stop. I persist. I finish what I start. You must train this into your blood. You must become allergic to quitting. You must become obsessed with follow-through. You must create rituals that do not bend to your feelings. Set a daily minimum of action. 1 letter written, 1 page studied, 1 sale pursued, 1 contact made, 1 task advanced. And no matter how you feel, do it. This is your drill. Do it anyway. When tired, do it anyway. When discouraged, do it anyway. When distracted, do it anyway. When doubted, do it anyway. When you've failed before, do it anyway. This is not punishment. This is training for your crown, because the universe is not moved by the man who tries. It yields to the man who returns. Again and again and again. The man who refuses to bow. The man who shows up while others sleep. The man who obeys his mission, not his mood. Let me say it clearly. Faith must outlast difficulty, not match it, outlast it. Anyone can believe on day 1. Anyone can speak bold words when the plan is fresh. But who are you on day 30? Day 100? Year 5? That is when faith becomes real, when nothing moves but you, when every voice says give up, but you rise again, not in emotion, but in decision. Say it now. Say it with command. I persist. I rise. I do not delay. I act in defiance of difficulty. Again, I persist. I rise. I do not delay. I act in defiance of difficulty. Say it not as a wish, but as a verdict. Let it become your creed. Let it carry you when no other force can. Because if you obey this law, if you persist without exception, nothing can stand against you. The world may stall you, but it cannot stop you, not permanently, because the man who persists always reaches the mark. So burn this into your will, carve it into your identity, stamp it on your routine. You will not stop. You will not collapse. You will not wait for perfect timing. You are not here for ease. You are here for victory. And victory is forged in repeated movement. Let us now address the one force that has crippled more men than poverty, prison, or defeat combined. The one enemy that needs no chains, no army, no whip, because it is welcomed willingly by its victim, fear. I have studied it. I have seen its effects on the strong and the weak alike. And I tell you now with absolute certainty, fear only has power where discipline is absent. In the mind ruled by purpose, fear is a servant. But in the mind left undirected, fear becomes a king. There are 6 basic fears that haunt mankind, and I call them what they are, ghosts, for they have no substance, only suggestion. They are the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, the fear of death. These 6 ghosts sit at the edge of every decision you make. They whisper at the first sign of movement. They hide behind opportunity, behind change, behind desire. They are not loud, they are quiet. That is their power. And most men never recognize that they are being ruled by shadows, not facts, shadows. And they shrink only when you shine the light of faith, clarity, and repetition of truth. Understand this. Fear cannot survive a mind trained by decision. It lives in hesitation. It breeds in delay. It multiplies in vague emotion. But once a man declares, this is who I am, this is what I will do, and this is how I will move, then fear trembles. It is not decision that kills a man, it is the lack of it. Every fear is a choice. obey the voice of doubt, or declare dominion over your path. When the fear of poverty rises, you must say aloud, I am building wealth by law. When the fear of criticism shouts, you must say, I live by purpose, not applause. When the fear of ill health or death creeps in, you must respond, I do what is mine to do, and I trust infinite intelligence with the rest. This is not bravado. It is mental order. It is how a man rules his inner world. Henry Ford is again your teacher here. The experts told him his engine could not be built, that the design was flawed, that the plan was madness. But Ford did not collapse. Why? Because he had built something greater than engineering. He had built belief. His mind was trained not to obey the facts, but to create new facts through decision, persistence, and faith. The engine was built, not because it was easy, but because he would not be ruled by fear. You must do the same. And here is your drill, your weapon, your shield. When fear arises, do not analyze it. Speak your definite aim aloud and act immediately. Fear cannot exist in the presence of movement. It thrives only when you hesitate. So train this into your nervous system. Speak, move, and persist. Let me give you this truth. The man who waits until fear is gone will wait forever. But the man who acts while fear is present, he trains the fear to retreat. That man becomes unshakable. That man begins to look different, to speak with weight, to move with clarity, because fear no longer has a home in him. Say this with me now. Fear flees from decision. I live by law, not by emotion. I act now. Again. Fear flees from decision. I live by law, not by emotion. I act now. You must speak this not just today, but every day. You must recite it when your chest tightens, when the mind wanders, when the doubts gather. And each time you do, you strengthen your spirit. You teach your mind that it no longer bows to suggestion. It gives orders. It does not take them. And if ever you forget, remember this. The world belongs to men who act despite fear, not in the absence of it. Those men may feel the tremble, but they do not show it. They may hear the voice, but they do not obey it, because they have chosen their creed and they have made it law. Say it one more time, and let it be the sword that cuts through every ghost. Fear flees from decision. I live by law, not by emotion. I act now. You have walked through fire, not the fire of circumstance, but the greater fire, the fire of inner transformation. And if you have obeyed each law, spoken each truth aloud, acted each day without delay, then I say to you now with full conviction, you are becoming the man who cannot be shaken. Not because life has become easier, but because you have become stronger. You do not collapse because you do not drift. You do not drift because you have a purpose. And you do not break because you have built yourself in truth. Let us now see what has been built. You began as one who waited to feel ready, one who listened to fear, one who responded to emotion more than to mission. But that man is gone. That man was buried by decision. That man was replaced by the one you are now becoming. You now rule your thoughts. You do not allow the random, the fearful, or the weak to live in your mind uninvited. You filter every idea by its power. You feed only what serves your destiny. You speak your creed each morning, not to feel good, but to remind your subconscious who commands the ship. You think clearly. You speak boldly. You move deliberately. That is the mind of a builder. That is the mind of a king. Your emotions now obey your mission. You no longer collapse in discomfort. You no longer delay until motivation returns. You act because you said you would. That is honor. That is strength. And your emotions, once your master, now follow your lead. They are not the cause of your action. They are the result of it. You speak your identity into existence. You do not hope to become, you declare who you are. Each repetition of your definite aim, each morning ritual, each refusal to answer to your old name, these are the bricks in your foundation. You are building a man worthy of greatness, and you are doing it without apology. You walk in purpose. You do not entertain distractions. You do not chase every impulse. You have chosen your definite aim. You have written it. You have memorized it. You have aligned your habits to it. Your steps now serve your vision. Your time now serves your legacy. You no longer ask, "What do I feel like doing?" You ask, "What must be done to become who I said I would be?" You control your energy. You do not waste it in indulgence. You do not scatter it in distraction. You preserve it. You aim it. You direct it. You have mastered your appetites. You have built discipline. You have risen above the masses who live by feeling. You are now focused, and focus is wealth. You persist without fail. You are no longer moved by the first obstacle. You do not flinch at delay. You do not retreat at resistance. You act daily. You move forward hourly. You are consistent even when unseen. You have learned that success is not a moment. It is a habit. And now that habit is yours. And you reject fear, not by pretending it does not exist, but by refusing to obey it. You know that fear is a ghost, that it cannot stop a man who acts. You speak your aim aloud when fear rises. You declare power when doubt knocks. You have chosen decision over emotion. And because of that, you are free. Now hear me well. No storm can shake the man who has built himself in truth. The wind may howl, the critics may shout, the world may shift, but you remain, because your roots go deep, because your creed is written, because your actions are no longer occasional, they are law. You have built this, and nothing, not failure, not fear, not delay, can take it from you. Say this now, say it with spine. Say it as the final seal upon your new identity. I am unshakable. I am trained. I live by decision, not emotion. By discipline, not impulse. I am the man I decided to become. Again, I am unshakable. I am trained. I live by decision, not emotion. By discipline, not impulse. I am the man I decided to become. And again, now with the voice of a man who has passed through fire and has come out forged. I am unshakable. I am trained. I live by decision, not emotion. By discipline, not impulse. I am the man I decided to become. This is not the end. This is the beginning of who you truly are. And if you return to this speech each morning, if you write your aim, speak your identity, and obey the laws of purpose, you will look back in 30 days and say, I do not recognize the man I once was.